Hi and welcome. For this yin practice, at least a blanket or two, probably two would be good. If you don't have a blanket, you can substitute towels. If you have some blocks, that would be great. If not, you can substitute some pillows, maybe like some small throw pillows. If you have a bolster, you can bring that as well. So just as many blankets and pillows and things like that as you can easily grab. And then find a comfortable seated position. We are going to focus a little bit more today on upper body, shoulders, and neck, which I know that's an area that I kind of struggle with, and tightness and stiffness there. But we'll also work the lower body as well. All right, so just finding a comfortable position, hands resting on your legs or at your heart center. Close your eyes. Allow your breath to become longer, slower, and deeper. Just take this time to check in with yourself, physically, emotionally, energetically. And then using your breath as your guide, allow yourself to start to calm and relax. Make your exhales a little bit longer than your inhales. About 2 more long, slow breaths. And then after that, let your breath return to its normal rhythm. Check in with your thoughts. And then bring your focus to what you'd like to concentrate on or focus on during your class today. And come back to that whenever your mind starts to drift. And it can be something just as simple as relaxing, listening to your body, or listening to your breath. And then release your hands down to your legs, and you can open your eyes. Okay, slowly start to circle. Make it pretty small and relaxed, noticing how you feel in the upper body. And now reverse the direction you're circling. Good. Come back to center, round your back, and then lengthen your back. Round your back, and lengthen your back. You got one more time. Round your back, and then lengthen your back. Okay. If you're sitting cross-legged, you can switch the cross of your legs. If you're sitting some other way or want to sit some other way, go ahead and find that comfortable position for you. Okay, let's drop our chin down to the chest and just let the weight of your head guide this stretch. If you feel something in the back of your neck a little bit, if you want to, you can bring your hands down to the mat on either side of your hips. Let your shoulders be soft. Relax your face. Good. Now slowly start to circle around. Okay, keep your circle small. And just really be aware in each position of the neck, how your neck is feeling. And then reverse. Notice any difference. If you feel any cracking or popping. And without judgment, just being aware of that. One more, and then back to the center. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. If you start to lean forward, shift your weight back a little bit, and then let's just drop one ear to the shoulder. So again, we're just letting the weight of our head stretch the neck. Not pulling or pressing. Relaxing the shoulders, keeping them soft, letting them drop down, keeping the face relaxed. And then slowly bring your head back to center, and then tip to the other side, near the shoulder. And same thing, just letting your head, the weight of your head, stretch the neck. Keeping yourself sitting upright and straight, keeping your shoulders relaxed, face soft. Slowly bringing your head back to center. Now just turn and look over one of your shoulders. And again, you're going to just keep sitting up tall, but relax through the shoulders and the face. Turning a little bit more if you can without any pain. Not forcing anything. Slowly coming back to center, and then over to the other side. Slowly coming back to center, and then back down, chin to chest. Now just a little quarter circle over your shoulder, and then back to center. We'll do that 5 times. Don't rush it. And this should be number 5. Back to center, and then 5 to the other side. All right, back to center. Hands behind the head, just lightly touching. Elbows out to the side. We're going to bring the head down and the elbows in, and then we're going to bring the elbows out and the head up. Coming down, inhaling, coming up, exhaling, coming down, inhale, coming up, exhale, coming down, inhale, coming up, and then just holding here, tipping to one side. Now taking your arm that's lower to the floor, and you're taking the other hand back behind you. Resting just gently near your low back or on your low back with the palm facing away. Now turn your head and look down. yourself up, bring your hands back behind your head, and then we'll tip to the other side. Same thing. And then dropping that hand to the floor, starting to lean to the side, and then bringing the top hand back to the low back. If that really bothers you, you can always keep your hand up on your shoulder or back behind your head. Turn your head and look down. Gently press yourself up and back to seated. Okay, let's go ahead and come to our hands and knees. And then we're going to grab, so either bolster if you have it, or if you don't have it, you can grab a blanket. You can take the one from underneath you if you're sitting on one, and we're going to lower down to the belly. So we're going to bring our chest to that supported, so a little bit, you want fairly high here. And then we're just going to bring our arms forward, and we're going to drop our head down. If you can't, forehead's going to come all the way to the mat. If you can't, you can put something underneath your forehead to give you a little lift, like a block or another blanket or a pillow. Now, if you have a bolster, you could use the bolster instead. With that, I have one. You should feel just a little bit of stretch in your shoulders as your underarms lift off the floor. A nice stretch in your back. Okay, now lifting up, you have a couple choices. You can slide your arms underneath you. You can scoot back a little bit. I like it about here. Or you can also come up a little bit higher by bringing your elbows up onto the edge of your blanket or your bolster. Again, you're going to keep your shoulders relaxed. If it feels better to you, you can open your legs a little bit wider. You can even come so that your elbows are underneath you. And the challenge here is to keep the shoulders soft and neck relaxed. And not to cause you any pain in your low back. We are compressing the low back here. Staying where we are, if it's comfortable, for another 10 breaths. If it's not comfortable where you are, you're finding something a little bit more relaxing. And that probably means it's coming lower and closer down towards you. relaxing here on your mat. You can go ahead and remove it. Okay, coming onto your hands and knees with your wrists underneath your shoulders and your knees under your hips, around your back, and hold. Keep your shoulders and your elbows soft. And now relax the back. And again, keep your elbows and your shoulders soft. Direction. Okay, so still in the middle of our mat and still on our hands and knees, we're just going to take the arms far forward if we can get them. We're going to drop the forehead down. So the hips will stay high here. Again, our armpits are off the floor, so we're feeling this through our shoulders, but we can drop down to the forearms. If shoulders are really tight, you can bring your hands in underneath you or closer in towards you. Allow your breath to become slow and relaxed. Okay, lifting your head. Let's just move the arms over, off to one side, and again, let the head come down. Drop back down to the forearm. Just adding a little stretch through the side. Coming back to center and then going over to the other side as well. And let the elbows slightly bend and come down to the forearm. Okay, lift your head and come back to the center position. And then from here, you can go ahead and move your knees off your blanket, and you can take your blanket up to the head out of your mat. Lower all the way back down to the belly, elbows out to the side, hands, let's see, hands stacked. And let's just let's bring the hands down by the side and just turn the head. So you'll probably feel this a little bit. This is our very, very passive neck stretch, but you probably might feel something here. Notice again, difference from side to side. Again, keeping the shoulders and the face relaxed.
Now lift your head slowly, turn it to center, and then to the other side. Okay, turning your head back to center, bringing your arms out to the side, stacking your hands, resting your forehead on your hands, bending your knees now. And you have a couple choices. You can just rock back and forth, or you can circle your legs around, or you can move your feet, or a combination of any of those things. And then just lower your legs down to wherever they're comfortable, so it might be a little bit wider. Now, for the next pose, you might want a block or another blanket or a pillow, and that might be for underneath your head. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift up onto the forearms, and then we're going to start to straighten, lift up a little higher. We're going to take one arm underneath and thread it. Okay, and then we're going to start to bring the forehead down. Now, if you can't get the forehead down to the mat easily without any pain in your shoulders, what you're going to do is bring your forehead up to the block. Now, your other arm can reach forward if that feels okay. You can come down to the forearm, or you can even bring the arm in underneath you. So just really wherever's comfortable for you. The palm is facing up, the arm is underneath. Now, if you start to feel any numbness or tingling here, you're going to back off and come up to something like this. Now you can, if you want, turn your head if that feels a little bit better on your neck. I'm going to keep my head facing forward or down. Okay, start to lift up, start to bring that arm out and forward, and then we'll do the other side. Bring your arm underneath you as far as you can, and then comfortably, and then lower down. So you might notice a difference from side to side. So here it's a little bit easier to bring my head lower, but I'm not able to get all the way to the floor without some pretty deep stretching that I don't want. So I'm going to just maybe bring my arm underneath me this time instead of my block. And my forehead can just rest on my arm. Okay, gently lifting up, bring that arm out, and then bring your hands underneath you, press yourself up, and take child's pose. So, patting your knees if you're on a hard floor, or if you just like a little padding underneath your knees, putting something between your thighs and your calf if you are tight through your knees. And that can be a blanket. A block can go underneath you as well. And let's bring the arms to more down by the side, or maybe just bent and underneath us like this, so that we can rest the shoulders. Your legs can be as wide as you like here. And if you want, you can even put the bolster or blanket underneath your head or your chest, so you could have a block here. You could do the same thing with a pillow, a bolster, or a blanket rolled a little bit higher. You want the back to be long, but relaxed. We'll be here for about 10 more breaths. All right, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and lift yourself up. We're going to come back to seated. So sitting on a blanket, a pillow, or a block, whatever you find most comfortable. And choice of your legs, they can be stretched out, or you can come back to some kind of cross-legged position. We're just going to work the shoulders, so hands to the shoulders, and we're just going to slowly roll. Now start to make your circles bigger. The elbows together in the center, and widen your elbows out as you move back. Now go the other direction and start slow again and small. And then start to gradually go bigger with the elbows coming in and widening out. Bring your arms all the way down. Let's bring the arms out to the side. Let's just come across. So one elbow is going to cross on top of the other, and we're just going to lightly grab the opposite shoulders, drop the head down, chin towards your chest. Lift your head, open your arms, just back out to a nice comfortable T, and then come with the opposite arm on top and do the same thing. Good, and then open back up to that T shape, and then bring your arms down. Okay, one shoulder up, and down. And the other shoulder up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down. And one more set, up, and down, and up, and down. Okay, it's going to turn. You can see a little bit better. So now we're going to bring the arms behind us. So you can either just lightly interlace the fingers, you can grab onto the wrist, the forearms, or the elbows. Again, just feeling what's comfortable for you. You can always back off if you've gone a little bit too far and just move to lightly interlacing the fingers. Now, if you have one arm on top of the other, switch so the other one's on top. And that would be probably if you're holding on to your forearms or your elbows or your wrists, not if your fingers are interlaced. Try to sit up tall, try to keep from hinging forward. Keep relaxing your shoulders. Keep relaxing your jaw. About 5 more breaths. Slowly releasing. Rolling one shoulder back and then the other. And then reversing and going forward. Good. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get ready to move on to our backs. What you'll need at the top of your mat, probably even off your mat and on the floor, is either a bolster or some stacked blankets or pillows, something higher than your mat. Okay? All right, and then you want to take one blanket and folding it, if it's this size, we're just going to fold it one more time so it looks something like this. It's going to be lower than what's behind you. Okay. And then if you have extra blankets or pillows, put one on each side, or you can do the same thing with blocks. Okay. All right, so now we're going to lower down so our shoulder blades are on this first blanket. And then we're going to let our back of our head rest on the mat. There's nothing underneath it. And we're going to bring the arms up overhead to rest on top of whatever's here. Now, if you find that this is too much for you, you can bring your arms off of this height and just bring them overhead. Okay. All right, we're just going to let everything else be soft. Now, from here, if you want, you can come into butterfly pose. So, and if you want some support underneath your legs, I guess maybe we should have done that first. You can put your blocks, your blankets, or your pillows, or whatever you have underneath the outside of your legs or underneath your knees. Don't feel like you have to come into butterfly pose. You could also just bend your knees and plant your feet. again, our focus is on the shoulders. If you're in butterfly pose, we're also working the hips, the inner legs and knees. So again, noticing sensation in the arms, tingling or numbness is your invitation to bring your arms down lower. Now, can you find stillness here? Can you focus just on the breath? If your legs are wide, start to bring your knees together. Bring your feet to the mat so they're about hip distance apart. And then bring your arms down by your side. Okay. Move your feet out towards the edges of the mat. Maybe move your arms a little bit wider and then just start to windshield wiper from side to side. One side and hold. And if you want to, your front knee or thigh, outer thigh can rest on a blanket or a block, whatever you have there on the side, if you want it. Or that bottom leg can lift up and your ankle can rest on the outer thigh of the top leg. That's going to deepen the stretch in the outer leg and hip. Don't do it if it causes any pain to your knee, and don't press on your knees. You're above the knee. No weight on your knee, just the weight of your leg, if it feels okay. You can get the same stretch with your leg alone. Okay, now if your leg is up on top of your other leg, bring it down. And then rock to the other side where we'll do the same thing. Now if you want, you can take that blanket that's behind your back and lift it up, slide it under your head instead. Might feel a little bit better there. and we shouldn't feel anything painful in your leg or your knee primarily. The bottom leg can be supported on a block or a blanket. Your top leg is up on top of, if your bottom leg is up on your top leg, take it down and then come back slowly to center. Walk your feet in until they're about hip distance apart. Okay, you're going to grab a block if you have it. If you don't, you're going to take a blanket and you're going to roll it up. And we're going to put it right underneath the sacrum. Now, if you have a blanket, you want to use a pretty firm one, or you might want to use two to make it a little bit higher. And then we're just going to bring the arms down by the side. Now you can do the same thing if you prefer, without anything underneath your back. You can just stay here. If you don't, you can't feel the right support with what props you have. Okay, and then we're going to straighten one leg out. You can let the foot and the hip slightly open. You don't have to force it up like this so it's facing up. Just let it gently open out to the side. Okay, bending the leg that's straight, and then straightening the leg that was bent. Bending the straight leg, bringing the foot to the floor, bringing your hands down by your side, slowly lifting your hips just enough that you can slide your blanket or your block out, and then slowly lowering back down to the floor. Keeping your legs about as wide as your hips, pull your knees to your chest, and then start to gently rock from side to side. together, and then make some nice slow circles. And now reverse your circles. And then lower your feet back to the floor.
Okay, so we're going to take that blanket and put it back underneath our shoulder blades if you moved it somewhere else. And then lowering back down to the back. Okay, feet are planted, knees are bent. We're going to take one arm up alongside the ear. And we're going to lift the head, bend the elbow, bring the hand back. So either between your shoulder blades, if you could get it there, or you can just gently wrap your hands around the back side of your neck and then lower down. So now you just have the weight of your upper body facilitating this stretch in your shoulder. Okay. Now we're going to lift the hips up. We're going to take the other arm, bend the elbow, and bring it back underneath the low back. And how far you bring it up the back is totally up to you. So the more you move towards the middle of the back, the deeper the stretch is going to be. Lower down. And if you feel like the stretch is too much, just start to inch your bottom hand down towards your hip. If you need to, you can take it out altogether. Again, if you start to feel numbing or tingling or just a lot of pain. So the top shoulders were in outer rotation, the bottom shoulder were in inner rotation. Okay, so you can keep the legs right here as they are, or you could come into just some gentle cross-legged position. Numbing or tingling, it is again your indication to come out or to modify this pose. Okay, bringing your feet back to the mat. If you came to cross-legged, lifting your hips, taking your low hand out, and then lifting your head and bringing the other one. And then we just switch. Arm comes alongside the ear, we'll lift the head, and you either just lightly grab either side of your neck, or bring your hand back between your shoulder blades and lower your upper body down. And then from there, lift your hips, bend your elbows, slide your hand under your low back or towards the mid-back, depending on how your shoulder feels, and then lower down. And again, you can stay here, or you can come into some different position with the legs.
coming back to the mat, if you change them, about hip distance apart, lifting your hips, sliding the bottom hand out, and then lifting your upper body and bringing the other arm out. Let's pull the knees to the chest. Just hold. Then, hands on your right knee, left leg extends out. The left hand coming to the outside of the right knee, right hand to the floor, and we're just going to roll to the left. Little twist. Looking to the side or looking up, whatever feels the best to you. You can bring your right arm down by your hip if you want. You can turn your right palm up or down. You can rest your right knee on a blanket, a bolster, or a block. If this is really uncomfortable, you can bend your left knee as well and stack your right knee on top of your left knee. Slowly roll back to center, lower your right foot to the floor, pull your left knee to your chest, and then straighten out your right leg. Bring your right hand to the outside of your left knee, your left hand to the floor, and then this time we'll roll to the right. So again, you can put something underneath your knee or your leg, your foot. You can look up, you can turn your head in either direction, you can bring your arm down by your side, palm can be up or down. And again, you can always take the bottom leg to bent and bring the knees to stack if you like that better. Slowly roll back to center. Bring your right foot to the floor. Bring your left foot to the floor. Lift your hips. And then just straighten your arms and legs out. Take a nice long body stretch. Move your feet, your ankles, your fingers, your toes. And then just relax and rest in Shavasana. Let your eyes close. Let your breath be slow and steady. If you haven't, move your props if you're using any to wherever's comfortable for you. So that you can just fully relax. Body, the mind. Now when you feel ready, start to move again. Stretch. Bend your knees. You can either plant your feet or pull your knees towards you. Take time for whatever you like here on your back. Some rocking, maybe just holding. Maybe your feet are on the floor and you want a windshield wiper from side to side. Maybe you want to just hold with your knees towards your chest. As you feel ready, you're going to start to make your way back to a seated position. So you can do that by rolling to your side first, and then coming back up. Okay, when you get back to seated, again, you're finding a comfortable position for you. Let's bring the hands to the heart, drop the chin to the chest. Just take a moment for thoughts of gratitude here. Thanking ourselves for taking time out of our day for our bodies. And then lifting the arms and looking up. And then bringing the hands back down to the heart center. May we be healthy and strong. May we be safe and free from harm. May we be happy and content. And may we always remember to be grateful for what we have. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me.